for inviting us to this one.
Thank you so much. One more round of applause for Honorable Lady Justice
Olga Osewe, ably representing the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. Before we move on, I understand that we have just been joined by the Honorary Consul of Estonia here to Kenya. A round of applause for them. Thank you so much for joining us. A key partner in all of this. As we move on, I know I wear a different hat in a different forum, but I come in peace, PS, in the spirit of neutrality. So I want to call on PS Engineer John Tanui to move us on for the rest of the program. You can kindly make your way up. Thank you, PS.
Thank you very much, and also thanks to the representative of Chief Justice, Justice Olga Osewe. We appreciate your comments. Your Excellency, we've listened mainly from the public sector, but in this forum and this summit, it has very strong support from the private sector, not only today, but for over the years. We have over 50 private sector institutions who are participating and are sponsoring this event. And to hear the voice of the private sector, we are going to have two representatives. We'll start with a representative of Cisco, the country representative of Digital Acceleration Program, Clayton Naido. We'll just have a few remarks, and thereafter we have the director in Safaricom, George Njuguna, who is in ICT, CIO Safaricom. He will follow after. Welcome.
Prime Secretary, Cabinet Secretary, Senator, board members, executive committees, CEOs, captains of industries, all protocol observed. On behalf of Cisco and behalf of our country manager, Shane Rahim, thank you so much for the opportunity and welcome to Connect Summit 2023. I'm here to talk to you about investments today. And often in the private sector, we want to come after government and we look for opportunities, but here, on this particular Connect Summit, we actually want to talk about investments. And I want to talk about investment through a program that we have at Cisco called Country Digital Acceleration. I am blessed to have this job leading investments across Africa, so I lead Cisco's Country Digital Acceleration across Africa. So what is Cisco's Country Digital Acceleration? It is an industry-leading collaborative framework and business model where real societal problems faced by government leaders can be solved by strategic co-investment in training, innovation, and mass-scale digitization. The CDA model, the Country Digital Acceleration model, is based on a high degree of trust and deep engagement across our ecosystem and partners and creates a continuum value from ideation to execution. Underpinning the Country Digital Acceleration, it is a requisite commitment, so we want government to play it forward with us, and partnering with industry, academics, governments, and leaderships to ensure that we power a sustainable and inclusive future for everybody, and specifically here in Africa and for Kenya. If you look at our investments across the world, we are active in the CDA program in 50 countries. We have made investments in 1,500 projects, and these projects are anything from government critical infrastructure to healthcare to transportation to manufacturing and smart cities. We are proud here in Kenya to partner with the Kenya ICT Authority. We've signed an MOU a couple of weeks ago and we launched it, and we're going to bring the CDA program to Kenya to focus on a couple of pillars, and that is overall digitization of certain of the institutes within government as well as training and development. Now, it's important that as we think about digitization and as we play it forward, we believe in the private sector as well as captains of industry, we actually have a moral obligation. And we think about this moral obligation, we think about it in three pillars. The first pillar is all about the digital divide. and connecting the unconnected. And I think many of the speakers brought it up, is as we focus on technologies and advanced technology and digitization, we ensure that we're taking care of the unconnected. We're bridging the digital divide, and I believe that's a moral obligation we have. The second moral obligation we have is digital skills. And this is important because we have to train for the future. And if you read the Future of Jobs report and any other reports, it talks about 85 million jobs being displaced through this shift of labor between humans and machines. But at the same time, it talks about 97 million new jobs being created. So we need to ensure that we don't create or contribute towards unemployment. We focus on employability. And that's the role we want to play at Cisco. One of the pillars of our investments with the Kenya ICT Authority is our Networking Academy program. It's evolved. It's been a flagship in Africa for a while, and it's been established in Kenya for a while. In Kenya, some of the numbers so far, we have trained at least 30,000 plus students a year through our Networking Academy, 105,000 since inception, through 50 academies. We're looking to double that over the next coming years. If you look at our pledge that we've made at the US, together with the US administration, Cisco has pledged to train 3 million people in Africa in the next 10 years. So it's important that we focus on the digital skills in addition to digital divide. The last moral dilemma that I want to speak about is sustainability and ensure that we build an inclusive and regenerative planet. And as Cisco, as we're starting to build technology, so when you start to partner with Cisco from your infrastructure builds, as we look at the investments, we want to ensure that the infrastructure that we're building are sustainable. We want to ensure that whatever product we are building takes into mind environmental stewardship as well as circular economy. We are providing analytics around providing you reports around contributing towards your emissions and to ensure that we get to net zero by a certain period of time, right? So lastly, if you look at what we're doing from a social investments perspective in the country itself, we have invested in programs during the pandemic. Some examples is an example called Drop Access. And this is a bunch of, I guess, students as well as community leaders, I would describe it better, that solved a solution in ensuring that vaccines remain relevant and remained cool during the COVID pandemic. So it developed a smart fridge using IoT technology that's built into the fridge, a very simple solution with very simple technology, but a powerful outcome, right? So that's just one example. In addition, from a Networking Academy perspective, we're partnering with organizations like Clean Start. This is one example of many other investments that we are doing across the continent, as well as here specifically in Kenya. But Clean Start specifically are focusing on women and children impacted by the criminal justice system to ensure dignity and reignite hope. So we are providing a platform where they'll be able to get digital skills, get what I describe as a decent job, and get plugged back into the economy and so on, right? So we cannot do this alone. What we're looking to showcase at the Connected Summit this week is we want to move your digitization efforts out of the cupboard into action. And I know most of your country digital acceleration through your master plan is well written. We're not looking to rewrite that. We want to look to how do we bring that into life and how do we invest in it. So at our stand, as well as at our side rooms, we have our teams here focusing on architecture. And we are going to go through business architecture roadmaps. So those of you that want to book can come and partner with us. We can help you define the architecture roadmaps. And at the same time, we can also look at what aspects of that architecture roadmap you want to invest in. So on behalf of Cisco, Kenya ICT Authority CEO, thank you so much for the event. We're looking forward to the partnership. We're looking forward to executing the MOU. And overall, I wish everybody a great summit. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Prime Cabinet Secretary, Right Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, Honorable Eliud Owalo, the Governor of Kwale County, Governor of Elgeyo Marakwet, Honorable Rotich, who is also our partner in transformation, the Chair of the Parliamentary ICT Committee, Honorable John Kerry, who we came in with very late last night, and we're looking forward to the road being opened, so but spent some valuable time discussing transformation. Our Principal Secretary of ICT and Digital Economy, Engineer John Tanui, a mentor and certainly a challenger in this journey. The Principal Secretary of Broadcasting and Telecoms, Edward Kisiangani, the Board Chairman of ICTA, Honorable Sylvanus Maritim, CEO of ICTA, Mr. Stanley Kamanguya, DG, Director General of CA, Mr. Ezra Chiloba, the Data Protection Commissioner, Mrs. Immaculate Kasait, Your Excellency Governors, dignitaries, captains of industries, innovators, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I had to cover our regulators. They are all on the front bench. Should I not mention one of them, I could get in trouble, especially the ones on the left of the room. But this is a very powerful room, and it's so great to be back in Diani for Connected. Today we gather in Kwale to discuss how technology can help transform our country and bring about positive change during this Connected Summit. I like the theme of today, where we're talking about endless opportunities shaping our future. And anytime there's a conversation on how our future is being shaped, especially in technology, that is a place I like to find myself, and certainly Safaricom as well. At Safaricom, our vision is to be a purpose-led technology company. And in that journey, we've experienced the transformative power of technology. We transformed fast from a mobile company to a fintech, to now a provider of integrated technology solutions. Indeed, our formation, our growth, and our transformation as a business has been enabled by many of the stakeholders in this room. From policymakers that created an enabling environment for growth, to tech partners that help us build and deliver solutions and innovative products, and also our millions of customers who believed that we could be the better option. Over the last 23 years, we have grown into a globally recognized company, especially because of our fintech platform, M-Pesa. But at the heart of this success is our customers. Each day they push us to be better, but also embody the spirit of Twaweza. When we come together, great things happen. Each day we securely and seamlessly transact over 80 million transactions on the M-Pesa platform. And these really power businesses, hustles, and indeed the economy of this great nation. Our country, and indeed the global community, has faced enormous challenges in the last few years, from a global pandemic to wars, to even climate change. But however, we've stood together in the spirit of Tuinwane and continue to spur growth, not only within our country, but even expanded into Ethiopia, which is the largest foreign direct investment by a Kenyan company since independence. We believe that technology does not only empower people and communities, but it also opens local and global opportunities. We know the mobile phone is not just a communication device. We've seen what it has done in terms of financial inclusion, from when M-Pesa came into the country in 2007, where we had below 20% financial inclusion, to now where we boast close to 90%. And indeed, they say that 1 in every 10 people who use a mobile phone for transactions is doing it in Kenya. That shows and has made us a global powerhouse in the fintech space, and also underpin the fact that we are a hotbed of innovation. I want to believe that in this conference, as we go through Connected, and as I've heard from the PSs and the CSs and the CEOs, one of the things that will come out of here is the next M-Pesa, the next solution, the next innovation, the the next spiraling into be a hotbed of talent and innovation. As we experience unprecedented growth in this industry, we also need to focus on digital trust. I heard our PS in broadcasting touch on that. As much as technology has the power to transform, the power to create opportunities, it can also be used in the wrong hands to also wreak havoc. I think one failure in a certain space can even cause a total lack, not just in an industry, but even in a country. We need to look at how we protect the government and other industries as they move into digitization. Cybersecurity is not optional. Cybercrime continues to accelerate at an alarming rate globally. Last year as a continent, it cost us over 400 billion shillings, and specific to Kenya, 54 billion of that. Safaricom is committed to providing accessible and affordable connected technology that has cyber protection at its core to protect critical assets and data. We also focus on enablement. For our citizens to access digital capabilities, devices have to become affordable. Through the Lipa Mdogo Mdogo platform, we've been able to connect over 1 million new customers to affordable 4G devices, and they can now get on the network and not just be able to communicate, but also to do their business. Through the new program we're working on the government, by bringing devices for local manufacturing here in Kenya, we believe that that number is going to quadruple and even grow much more. What about software? We believe in building solutions in Kenya for Kenya. This does not only create jobs and opportunities for young people across the nation, but also helps Kenya to grow in terms of being able to export software and technology to other nations. Over the last 6 months, we've directly engaged over 3,000 university students in a program we call Build by Safaricom. We've been working to influence curriculums, and also we've been able to graduate over 600 students from our digital talent program and academy. And some of you may have seen this at the Jamhuri Day celebrations. Last year in July, we launched the Safaricom engineering community with 500 people. That has now grown to over 5,000, and I'd like to thank the partners in the room, many of whom are also sponsors, for walking this journey with us, where we believe we can leverage global best practices to develop solutions here. Honorable CSs, I can guarantee you that the one thing that can help this country grow the economy exponentially is actually technology and software engineering. And we have the young people in this country, many of them who are unemployed, who do not need to be employed by anyone. But if we can empower them with the skills, we can empower them with the platforms, they can develop solutions that not only help to give them employment and transform their own lives, but also transform communities and transform the country. We've been working with the county governments on a My County app and tech platforms. This is leveraging on some of the learnings from eCitizen to see how we can create an open architecture platform where counties can share and leverage on shared capabilities. We're working closely with the Council of Governors to pilot these solutions, including in Elgeyo, where Governor Rotich has been very open to us experimenting and trying things from healthcare to revenue management. The challenges and the support given really help us to partner in transforming the lives of communities, not just across his county, but across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the capability, we have the know-how, the experience, and the knowledge to support you as you extend services to all Kenyans in facets of technology. One example is Hustler Fund. I personally got the call around 26th of October that by December 1st, a new financial inclusion platform would be launched. And within 5 weeks, we had not only designed, developed, and were ready to test. Another phone call came in and said the date is no longer 1st of December, it has come to the last day of November. And I know it took quite a lot of work. Many times in technology projects, you move the timelines forward, not backward. But I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that that capability was designed in Kenya, built in Kenya, and rolled out in Kenya. Through it, we've been able to disburse over 24.6 billion shillings as at last night and had over 18.6 million Kenyans opt in. We'll continue to work with the government of Kenya and the county governments on such innovative solutions. By far, I believe it is the most successful financial inclusion platform that has been launched in this continent and perhaps in the world, with almost overnight success and impact to the bottom of the pyramid and indeed the economy at large. I therefore look forward to working with all regional and global ICT industry leaders, policymakers, executives, financiers, and innovators across the technology spectrum represented here today to take advantage of our capacity to create technical solutions that meet the needs of our people, our beloved country, Kenya, and together, I believe that we can connect even more to new opportunities. We've done a lot of work also on the fertilizer platform, where we've registered over 1 million farmers and disbursed nearly 1 million bags of fertilizer in the same period of about 90 days. We'll continue to work with the various ministries involved to ensure that this program meets its intended impacts, as even we thank God for the rains that have come. On eCitizen, we power a platform that ensures that anyone across the country and globally can access government services 24 hours a day. We're working with the Ministry of ICT and ICT Authority in terms of supporting the government's rollout of 100,000 kilometers of fiber, of which we've done 13,000. We lead with purpose, and over the last 23 years, our Safaricom Foundation has a footprint across 47 counties, and since 2003, we've implemented 1,400 community projects impacting over 8 million people in health, education, economic empowerment, water, disaster relief, arts and culture, and environmental conservation. We're exploring how frontier digital technology can save lives, create sustainable livelihoods, and protect natural habits. As I reflect on this theme, digital economy, endless opportunity shaping our future, one may wonder, how is this possible? When we look at the largest countries that play in this space, you think of the US, you think of China, you think of Japan. But Taiwan is perhaps the largest contributor of semiconductors to the global market, with over $150 billion. They contribute 20% of the semiconductors used across the globe. You think about India, that actually almost every large global corporation has a CEO that came from India. I believe it started in conversations like this, where they not only became great and big in their own country, but now they're able to export and even impact the globe. Policymakers and industry leaders in the room, I can see academicians as well. This is where we need to take Kenya. This is the challenge of our time, and we must rise to it. In the World Economic Forum of 2014, Albert Essie, the group CEO of EcoBank, posed a challenge to African leaders. He said, Africa has been rising for a long time. I hope we will eventually get to a point where we have risen. In the same spirit, and more so now on Easter week, I want to believe that this is not just another connected or tech conference. Let us rise to the challenge of making Kenya the hotbed of tech talent and global powerhouse in technology. Indeed, we have been talking about the Silicon Savannah for a long time in this room. But also today in this room, I see leaders and innovators that will move this dream from PowerPoint to pavement and make it a real stand to get a real feel of the tech solutions we are developing. We'll just play a short video at the end, just on some of the work we've been doing recently with government. Thank you.
Hustler Fund ni mradi wa serikali unaowezesha watu binafsi na wafanyabiashara wadogo kupata mikopo ya bei nafuu na kuweka akiba kupitia simu. Kupitia mradi huu, unaweza kupata mikopo kwa urahisi uweze kutimiza mahitaji yako na ya biashara yako. Mkopo wa Hustler Fund utaupata moja kwa moja kwa simu yako ya aina yoyote popote ulipo, bila kujaza fomu au kutozwa dhamana. Unaweza kupata kiwango chochote cha pesa kutoka shilingi 500 hadi shilingi 50,000 kwa malipo nafuu ya 8% kwa mwaka. Unaweza kuulipa mkopo kidogo kidogo au mara moja kwa urahisi, na ukilipa haraka unaongezwa kikomo chako cha mkopo. Kila unapopata mkopo, 5% ya pesa zitawekwa kwenye akiba kwa akaunti yako, kukuwezesha kuwa na pesa zitakazokufaa wakati wowote. Kujisajili kwa Hustler Fund, piga *254#, kubali masharti ili uweze kupata mkopo na kuweka akiba kwa mtandao wowote. Hustler Fund, jiinue, jiendeleze.
Another round of applause, please, for Director George as he takes his seat. And I think even as he takes his seat, I'd like to reassure him, Vicky, all in the room, that this is a safe space from your regulators and our principal secretary as well. We're here to connect. Literally, the writing is on the wall as we do that. As we move our program forward, I'd like to recognize the presence of Senator Miraj Abdullahi Abdul Rahman, Senator Beatrice Akinyi Oyomo, Senator Shakila Abdallah Mohammed, Senator Karen Njeri Nyamu, and Senator Boya Issa Juma, who are also with us this morning. Also from the National Assembly, we have Honorable John Kiaria, Member of Parliament and also Chair of the ICT Committee with us, Honorable Jamatia Sergon, also with us, Honorable Irene Mayaka, Honorable Bernard Kitur, and Honorable Umulker Mohammed, also with us for these conversations. We also have several members of County Assembly present, not forgetting international partners from South Africa. West Africa, Dubai, and of course the East African region and Asia as well. Could you please have a round of applause for all those making time to be here and be part of these very critical conversations as we move this particular dialogue forward. I'd like to call at this point Principal Secretary Engineer Tanui back on stage to continue with the program. Asante.
Your Excellency, you can see how we are well aligned with the private sector. The assignment and the target of our country is in good hands. Both the public sector and private sector is ready to implement this. You've seen also we have both the National Assembly, Senate ICT Committee, with the Vice Chair here leading. We have also the National Assembly with John Kiaria. We have sessions after the break where they'll be speaking. And now, before we invite the Chair of ICT Committee of the Council of Governors, I'll invite Issa Chuma on behalf of the Kwale to just make one remark and welcome the Chair of ICT Committee will invite our CS. Karibu, Senator.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Your Excellency, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Cabinet Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I take this opportunity on behalf of the County of Kwale to welcome you to this summit here in Diani, Kwale County. Your Excellency, we are very proud here in Kwale this summit to be held here. And mine is just to welcome you here in Kwale. Kwale is a very peaceful town, peaceful county. We have very beautiful beaches here in Kwale. I would even urge my members, fellow friends, distinguished guests who are here, find some time, please. We have a very beautiful island called Chale Island here. We have Shimoni Island. We have Wasini Island. These are very beautiful scenery that if you have time, please kindly go and visit them. To my Muslim brothers and sisters, I wish you Ramadan Kareem and welcome again to Kwale. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Our Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, our CS, Eliud Owalo, our PS Engineer Tanui, our PS Kisiangani, our senators here who are present with us, led by the area senator, development partners who are here with us today, private sector representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Wesley Rotich, the governor for the great county of Elgeyo Marakwet County, and I double up as the chair of ICT at the Council of Governors. It is my great pleasure to join you today on this 12th edition of Connected Summit 2023, which brings together regional and global ICT industry leaders, policymakers, executives, financiers, and innovators to explore innovative ideas and areas of partnerships to leverage on technology. At the onset, allow me to congratulate the Ministry of Information, Communication, and the Digital Economy, led by our able CS, and its partners for organizing this summit, which truly timely in advancing integration of ICT in the Kenya's development agenda. Gradually, the world is moving towards digital economy, and use of ICT has become an essential tool for achieving sustainable development. Thus, this year's theme, Digital Economy, Endless Opportunities Shaping Our Future, is opportune and resonates well with the county government's agenda of leveraging on technology to drive economic growth and enhance service delivery to those at the bottom of the pyramid. Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed significant progress in the integration of ICT in the county government's service delivery systems. The county governments play a crucial role in fostering digital economy in the country. Over time, we have supported and continue to promote the digital economy through the following. First is the development of digital infrastructure, which we have done together with the ICT Authority and the Ministry. Secondly is the provision of conducive environment that promotes innovation and entrepreneurship. We also have done adoption of digital technologies. Examples are online revenue collection systems, county health management systems, and several other, including the digitization of land registries. We have also done something on youth empowerment by providing them with training and digital skills. And finally, we also have incubation hubs in some of our counties. I am not one of them, but we have Isiolo and a few counties who have started. I'm going to break ground in Elgeyo Marakwet this week to one of the biggest innovation and ICT hubs, which may host up to 500 to 1,000 young people, and so that I become the lead as the chair of ICT. As the council, we have developed a knowledge and information repository platform. Recently, when I took over as the chair at the ICT, we have revamped Maarifa Center, which is a one-stop shop of all devolution success stories. So if you want to understand and get anything success about the devolution family, you actually go to our Maarifa Center at the Council of Governors. And I really need to urge the media so that at least we give these success stories and it can be replicated locally or internationally so that we tell the Kenyan success devolution the success of the devolution. Currently, the center through its Maarifa platform is making it possible for everyone access CIDPs from all our 47 counties. In the long run, the portal will act as a gateway to accessing investment projects in counties, sector plans, and county regional economic blocks blueprint, among others. Despite the significant progress that has been achieved, there is still considerable amount of work that is needed to be done to fully maximize the potential. The Council of Governors recently conducted an ICT baseline survey to establish the status of ICTs in the county governments. Among top opportunities of the county governments can capitalize on to accelerate uptake in ICT include the following: investment in county ICT infrastructure, provision of specialized human resources. We have a huge gap, and we have told the CS that as much as we have a lot of zeal to actually transform the sector, we still have a huge gap. And we appreciate this Connect Summit because of the Presidential Digital Literacy Program. I think it's bridging that gap, but I still tell you at the counties we are still doing very badly in terms of that. Provision of specialized human resources, I have said. We further encourage county governments to adopt digital governance and practices, including online engagement and e-procurement. My county, I am now fully e-procurement end to end, from the beginning, from when you requisition all the way to payment. You can't interact with a lot of papers. In addition, we are challenging both levels of government to enhance integration and mainstreaming of ICT in all sectors. I will say a few things also on what we want to do as counties. As the chair of the ICT, I have interacted with some few people, especially the partners, which we appreciate our CS for bringing us together. As counties, I am trying to persuade my colleague governors to ensure that we make it very easy for all those who are laying fiber in all our counties. I have led by example by ensuring that in my county, if you want to lay fiber in any part of my county, it is free to do so, so long as you are just within the law, so that I'm not charging you anything. As an economist, I made the calculation. I may charge you 50,000 or something like 100,000 or even $1 million for the way leaves. And I compared it with the amount of opportunity that my young people can get, the employments that they can get when I have a fiber laid to a place known as Tot, where there is a lot of cattle rustling and people are carrying guns in this generation. I realized that it could be more beneficial for me to forego the revenue and actually get more connectivity in my county. It makes more sense, and I'm really campaigning with my governors. And when we were sitting with my PS last week, PS Tanui and the CS, he just showed me a message from one of the counties I will not mention, that some of his people at the ICT authority were complaining that a governor, or not a governor, but governance officials were actually harassing someone who was laying fiber, and I think it was ICT authority or something. I realize that is a big challenge that we need to do, so that as counties we play and we support this process. I also want to say that we have a huge opportunity at the counties. I want to request all partners in the ICT. Of course, Nairobi has been our headquarters for so long. I want to tell you, at the counties, the talent that is there is even much more. And if you go to a place, for example, like the famous Bomet, the Mulot, those guys are too talented. If you were to set up some of these and support our counties, you will get those Bomet guys. And they were too daring that last week when we were with the PS here in Mombasa, the governor actually of Bomet is my member of my committee. And they are too daring. They took over the phone of that of the governor, and they were calling, including the wife of the governor, using his phone, and he has his phone with us. We were shocked how those guys are really can be able. So if you want to do cyber security, let us hire the firm to actually be the one helping us to do this. So I want to say that as we move forward, I'm requesting that we ensure that we move some of these things to counties. There is huge potential in our counties, so that we can be able to continue. There is an opportunity also at the county level. For example, we are dealing with anything agriculture, and we have a huge gap in terms of information on agricultural extension services. I met some guy introduced to me by a World Bank official some time back. He has a small gadget that has all agricultural information, how to plant maize, how to do dairy. He has a lot of that information, and he had a small gadget that acts as a projector at the same time as some small sound. And actually, you don't need to be an agricultural extension expert to actually go to a place like a hall like this, and you project and you talk to dairy farmers. I was thinking that we can transform all our sectors at the county level by ensuring that we leverage on technology. There is also a final thing that I wanted us to do. I was in Toronto, Canada, some few months ago, and AI has been used in several other ways. And it took me some few minutes to think about my professor who taught me economics in the university, that he was using a course outline which he kept photocopying, and I suspect he might have developed it in 1990, 1991, thereabout. When I was in Canada, they told me they update their course outlines every 4 months. I told them how. They say they use artificial intelligence to scan the internet and to scan every job opportunity in Canada and across the world. And it brings out some of the latest skills that are required in the sectors, in each and every sector. And they update their course outline to match what is happening in the world and the job market. So that is some things that IT can be able to help us, so that as a country we move forward. Because as we sit currently, we are training with skills that are not required in the field. And that is why we have few people in the ICT sector. We really need to move. And this conference, I will really hope that we get out and try to advise our government in that term Canadian education system. I was shocked to find that if you are in an IT class, there is a professor, traditional professor paid by the university to teach you IT. But once in a while, a Safaricom head of systems or somebody from the sector has 2 hours every day. If you are doing something like breweries or EABL, for example, the EABL guy who does real brewing goes to a chemical engineering class and every week gets 2 hours. That means that any graduate who comes out of that class directly goes to the sector and starts to work. Same to IT. I am hoping that today, as we speak, let us see how we can marry education and also what is happening in the actual in the field. So I want to, with all those many remarks, I want to appreciate our CS, our Prime Cabinet Secretary. I must tell you, please pass our regards to the President, that he gave a good a tone at the top, you yourself, the deputy yourself, and again they gave us a powerful cabinet secretary in the name of David Owalo, who is very passionate. We have PS who has been in Konza all these years, and we have now a team in ICT Authority doing a wonderful job. If we are not going to make it this time, then there is no other time that we are supposed to make it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's my duty and honor now to invite our Cabinet Secretary, Mheshimiwa Eliud Owalo, and as he comes, I want to be the guinea pig of any ICT. So any partner, if you want to try anything, please come to Elgeyo Marakwet County. I will ensure that you do well. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Karibu sana.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary, my able ICT PS, Engineer John Tanui, ably assisted by my communication PS, Professor Kisiangani, the Governor of Elgeyo Marakwet, who is also the ICT Chair of the Council of Governors, legislators present, led by my friend KJ Kiare, who is the chair of the ICT Committee of the National Assembly, and of course the vice chair of the ICT Committee of the Senate, the CEOs and captains of industry present here today, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Morning again. It is indeed my pleasure this morning to be with you here for this very, very important forum, which is now on its 12th edition. May I start by sincerely thanking the Prime Cabinet Secretary for getting time out of his very, very busy schedule to be with us this morning. In the same vein, I want to appreciate everyone who has elected to participate in this forum, either physically or virtually. And to all of you, I've got no hesitation in stating that as an ICT ministry, we owe you a great debt of gratitude. I also want to thank the ICT Authority for making all the requisite preparations to make this forum a success. And last but not least, may I singularly appreciate the support and cooperation from our partners in the industry and also our donors towards this particular event that has facilitated successful preparations towards this forum. To all of you, thank you very much. If you ask me, against the background of what has been stated by previous speakers, that quite a number of initiatives have come out of this forum. And just to mention but a few, The e-Citizen platform was a product of discussions at this forum. The Oduma Centers is a product of discussions or resolutions emanating from this forum. So we can confidently state, ladies and gentlemen, that this forum is not just a learning platform, but also a thought leadership forum that informs everything that we are doing as an ICT sector in this country. I verily believe, ladies and gentlemen, that with concerted efforts from all the players, we can, in the not too distant future, perhaps within the next 3 years, we can be talking about an African connected summit here in Kenya. And in the next 5 years, we can confidently be talking about hosting a global connected summit here in Kenya. And the opportunities emanating from that, ladies and gentlemen, will be enormous. The theme of this summit is endless opportunities, the digital economy, endless opportunities, shaping our future. This theme, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very much in tandem with what the policy framework of the Kenya Kwanza government is. It is an opportunity or a forum through which we can take stock of what we have done as ICT sector players in this country. We can recognize the fundamental milestones that we have realized. We can discern the challenges that we have faced and the strategic issues emanating from those challenges that we need to address moving forward. We can look at the gaps and the corresponding interventions that we need to undertake to close those gaps. We can look at the lessons that we have learned in the course of implementing past resolutions of this forum and how those lessons can inform what we need to do moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. It is also a forum that can enable us to contextualize our operational environment to be able to discern what we need to do, informed by the policy frameworks that exist, political factors, economic factors, social, technological, environmental, and even legal factors in our operational environment, ladies and gentlemen. Based on or informed by that contextual analysis, we should therefore be able, as an ICT fraternity or family, to determine our critical success factors moving forward that should then inform our areas of focus. As government, based on policy postulation that is espoused in our Kenya Kwanza plan, of course, spearheaded by none other than His Excellency the President and ably assisted by the Deputy President and the Prime Cabinet Secretary. In their wisdom, they determined that ICT was going to be a standalone thematic area in our Kenya Kwanza plan. The digital superhighway, ladies and gentlemen, was deemed as a key result area in our plan because ICT is not just an enabler to everything that we are going to do, but it is also a critical success factor moving forward and perhaps the only means through which we can re-engineer our processes across the board moving forward. And in this regard, ladies and gentlemen, as government, we have already embarked on the process of rolling out 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. We are currently at the threshold of 25,000 kilometers of fiber, and we believe that over the next 5 years we shall have attained the envisaged 5,000 kilometers. Between now and June, we have already put in place all the necessary mechanisms to ensure that we do an additional 5,000 kilometers of fiber. As part of the ICT infrastructure that we need to introduce based on our Kenya Kwanza digital superhighway, we are also going ahead to establish and operationalize a minimum of 25,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots spread evenly all over the country. We have embarked on this process, ladies and gentlemen, by targeting those segments of the society that may not be connected at the moment, but are involved in integral economic activities at the bottom of the economic pyramid. And in this regard, this process has been rolled out targeting markets and also targeting bus terminals where our youth are domiciled so that they can get involved in gainful economic activity. Within the markets, we are targeting the itinerary traders so that they can leverage on technology for purposes of e-commerce. But within the bus terminal, we are targeting the youth who hitherto were not involved in gainful employment but can leverage on technology to exploit their skills and capabilities. We are going a step further also, ladies and gentlemen, to establish a minimum of 1,450 ICT hubs in the villages, domiciled at the level of the ward, which is our lowest administrative unit. Similarly, to facilitate optimal uptake of the ICT infrastructure that we are introducing in the operational environment, we are embarking on a major digital skills program. You are aware that we have been rolling out the Hajira program. We have now introduced the Jitume program. The purpose of this, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that Kenyans, a critical mass of Kenyans, will have the requisite digital skills to facilitate optimal uptake of the ICT infrastructure that we are introducing in the marketplace. While doing this, I must recognize from the onset that the input of the private sector is imperative. For example, when it comes to the 100,000 kilometers of fiber, our proposition as government is that we will do just 52% or 52,000 kilometers, while we leave the rest to the private, 48% to the private sector. We have already had meetings to discuss and agree on who plays or rolls out what component of that fiber, and come out of those meetings with resolutions as to the responsibility centers for rolling out the fiber, the timelines, the targets, and all that appertains to it. So I can state without fear of contradiction, ladies and gentlemen, that as government and working in partnership with the private sector, we will ensure that all those parts of the country that hitherto were not adequately enabled by way of ICT infrastructure will get enabled. Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, is with that level of ICT infrastructure in place, plus corresponding levels of digital skills, do we really still need manual processes? And the answer is a clear no. And that is why, as government, we have gone ahead to embark on the process of digitizing government records while at the same time digitalizing government services. We have reached out to the county governments, and just last week we had got a meeting with the ICT committee of the Council of Governors and also all the CECs responsible for the functional mandate of ICT at the counties, so that correspondingly the counties also do what we are doing at the national government level by way of digitizing records and also digitalizing services. As we speak, the e-citizen platform that hitherto was in the hands of the private sector is now a full-fledged government facility, When we took it over 2 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, we only had 350 services aboard that technological platform. As at today, we have attained the threshold of 4,200 government services aboard the eCitizen platform, ladies and gentlemen. So, Your Excellency, for purposes of comfort, I want to state that the proposition that has been espoused in public by none other than His Excellency the President, that we will digitalize 5,000 government services by June 2023, is both realistic and attainable. If anything, we will surpass the target. We have already identified about 5,700 government services that can possibly be digitalized. So that is work in progress, and we will meet the target as required. The other area, ladies and gentlemen, where we have made significant strides is the area of e-commerce. With technological innovation, plus the corresponding levels of innovation and creativity, it is our proposition that we embark on e-commerce as opposed to the traditional way of doing business, and to anchor this on a sound framework. We have already developed the e-commerce strategy, and a policy document also is in place. We are going ahead to come up with a national addressing system that would facilitate e-commerce across all sectors of the Kenyan economy. We envisage that both the public and private sector will be able to leverage on that framework so that we move our businesses from manual processes to technological processes, starting with all the way across the entire value chain, starting with the source of raw materials up to the market, or by extension, the final consumer, if you want to call it. In terms of entrepreneurship, Your Excellency, as a ministry, of course, working with the private sector, we also believe that we can leverage on technology to introduce major initiatives within the Kenyan economy. As we speak, you are aware, which has just been presented by Safaricom, Bwana Njuguda of Safaricom, that we have partnered with the telecommunication companies to roll out the Hustler Fund, which is a major introduction in the market within our thematic area of the small and medium enterprises. That Hustler Fund is being rolled out while leveraging on technology, and also we are relying on technological platforms for purposes of repayment. If that's the case, then what we need to ask ourselves is whether or not the critical mass of Kenyans who are operating at the bottom of the economic pyramid have got access to smart enabled phones. And the answer is that we need to do some work in that area. And as opposed to thinking of importing telephone handsets from China or Korea or anywhere else for that matter, we have deliberately reached out to the private sector, and we have now embarked on the process of local assembly of cheap but smart enabled telephone phones. And based on feasibility studies that have been undertaken, ladies and gentlemen, we envisage that the phones will be available in the Kenyan market at a unit cost of $40 per unit. With all these interventions in place, ladies and gentlemen, we really need to think about also the level of exposure to cyber insecurity. We are aware that we have got a sound legal framework, including but not limited to the Computer Misuse and Cyber Crimes Act. We also have the Data Protection Act in place. We have gone ahead as ministry to operationalize the Office of the Data Commissioner to help us come up with an elaborate mitigation framework that would ensure that as we digitize our records and digitalize our services, we are not exposed from a cybercrime perspective. And across the entire government, we have also put in place a team, a standalone team constituted or informed by relevant facets of government that on a continuous basis is monitoring the trends of exposure or computer crimes globally, and also ensuring that we put in place elaborate mitigation measures moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware that all that we need to do must be anchored on a sound legal policy and regulatory framework. And that is why, as a ministry, we remain ready and available to always consult with you people as integral stakeholders within the ICT industry, so that we can come up with propositions, policy propositions, legal propositions that will ensure that everything that we do is anchored on a sound policy, legal, and regulatory framework. And of course, also informed by global best practices, so that we are in tandem with best practices elsewhere. The comfort I want to give you is that our doors are open. We will always be ready to undertake such stakeholder fora, so that we come up with policy propositions, relevant policy propositions moving forward, depending on unfolding events from time to time. May I reiterate once more, Your Excellency, that as government, there's just that much that we can do. But we recognize that we must partner with the private sector to realize the goals and objectives that we want to pursue. And therefore, the critical, single most important success factor moving forward is synergy, effective alignment at all levels, and of course, strategic alliances and partnerships moving forward. So we will work with you as sector players in everything that we want to do moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. May I also mention, for purposes of information, that next year we have managed to attain the rights through the Konza Technopolis to host a global ICT conference. It is we are confident that we can, in the not too distant future, as I mentioned earlier, we have the capacity to host an African Connected Summit and a global connected summit. Otherwise, we verily believe that working in partnership with you people, we are able to position Kenya effectively as the ICT hub of Africa, so that we realize our vision of an empowered and digitalized Kenyan society, so that by extension we position our beloved country effectively in the global marketplace by way of both comparative and competitive advantage. With those many remarks, ladies and gentlemen, may I now have the distinguished honor and privilege to invite the Prime Cabinet Secretary, His Excellency Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, to give his address and declare this summit officially open. Let's all be upstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Please be seated. All right. Maybe you need to stretch. Just stand and stretch a bit. Yeah, it may be good for us. Asante sana. I'll make some few remarks, and then I'll take a minute or two just to share some personal experiences with you, and hopefully through that inspire you even more. Honorable Eliud Owalo, my good friend, the Cabinet Secretary for Information, Communications and the Digital Economy of Kenya, I kept on calling him Liwe Liwalo, Niwalo. Principal secretaries, Council of Governors, represented by the Governor of Elgeyo Marakwet, members of Parliament, industry leaders, all public officials who are here, ladies and gentlemen, and friends from beyond our borders. Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the Connected Summit 2023 conference under the theme Endless Opportunities Shaping Our Future. This conference is of countless importance to our country and the East African region because it aligns with two key pillars of the digital superhighway and creative economy. I also thank the private sector for your willingness to collaborate with the public sector in making significant contributions to the digital reforms that are taking place in our countries, and for agreeing to share knowledge, expertise, and experience in promoting digital inclusion. Your support will play a decisive role in the development of a connected Africa, thus guaranteeing the private sector the role of change agents, initiating transformation and introducing a digital philosophy in Africa. I assure you that His Excellency the President and the Government of Kenya are committed to providing you with every support required in our partnership. I therefore wish you every success in your work. Digital technologies are changing the landscapes of the global economy by creating conditions that enable all countries to take meaningful participation in the global process. In order to leverage these new opportunities, we need to create a new domain that is able and willing to embrace innovations between governments, private sector, and general society. This springs from the knowledge that only those countries that do not avoid digital changes rapidly adopt and implement innovations and achieve success in building modern, cohesive societies. As you may be aware, Africa presents a variety of economic opportunities in virtually every sector. The continent's youthful population structure is an enormous resource in this digital era. It means Africa must make digitally enabled socioeconomic development a high priority. Digital transformation should then become the driving force for innovative, inclusive, and sustainable growth, because innovations and digitization stimulate job creation, contribute to addressing poverty, reducing inequality, and contributing to the development agenda in the continent. I am aware that Africa has fewer legacy challenges to deal with and is fast adopting digitized solutions out of necessity. For Africa, the current moment offers a leapfrogging opportunity because current technologies testify to the high scale and speed at which technology transforms traditional socioeconomic sectors. It is also gratifying that the continent's leadership has prioritized and accelerated digital transformation. We are ready for an inclusive and comprehensive digital transformation strategy to guide a common, coordinated response to reap the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution. I want to confirm that as a country, Kenya has set goals to make itself the leader in the region in terms of digitization. We have created a national digital master plan, which has been referred to. As a complement of our aspiration in the Kenya Vision 2030, but with focus to the next vision of 2063 when Kenya turns 100. This commitment dovetails into the initiatives and achievements of the Kenya National ICT Master Plan, builds on the pillars of the Kenya Digital Economy Blueprint, and refocuses the country on the transformative trajectory towards a digital economy. The purposes of these developments are the provision of accessible, affordable, reliable, and secure services, thus positioning of Kenya as a globally competitive digital economy. However, to harness digital opportunities, the government is currently undertaking comprehensive implementation of the digital superhighway, which will play a critical role in enabling Kenya to revolutionize the provision of health, agriculture, housing, financial services, and as our previous speakers have spoken, also focus on the following areas in order to produce good results: the universal broadband availability that hastens the rollout of connectivity throughout the country in various markets, digitization and migration of state agency services to the e-citizen portal. Again, this has been spoken to. And of course, the Hustler Fund digital platform rollout that has increased financial inclusivity of vulnerable groups and low-income earners. But we still have to achieve many other tasks and goals. And some of these include the following. First, the first goal is to meaningfully modify the national and county services through digital technologies. In this case, digital solutions will be expanded and enhanced to help rapidly identify demands of citizens and the needs of society to promote transparency in the decision-making process and openness in interaction with citizens. In other words, digitization will improve efficiency of state agencies and mitigate the human factor to reduce corruption. The second goal is the creation of a digital society by improving digital knowledge and skills of our citizenry. We want digital technologies to become a way of life for every citizen after obtaining new knowledge and mastering new technologies. That way, we will create a more competitive citizen for the global labor market. We do this deliberately, knowing that if we do not carry out these changes, the digital world will remain closed to us. For us, digitization of the society is an important process that, among other things, will carve our space in the world. There is therefore enough reason why every citizen should be receptive to the new developments and keep learning on a continuous basis. Yet, we can only be successful through the joint efforts of all stakeholders: society, government, private sector, international organizations, and business partners. The third goal is geared towards improving and supporting education, agriculture, land reforms, and healthcare in the country by leveraging capabilities offered by digitization. We expect to improve the living standards of the population. Fourth is to use new capabilities to change conventional sectors of the economy while applying artificial intelligence to increase workforce productivity. These innovative solutions will impact on business practices and on the growth of the economy in general, because new opportunities will emerge, and leveraging these opportunities will help us rapidly move to higher levels of development. Fifth is our ambitious goal to make Kenya the regional hub for technology transfer. This moves targets creation of a more inclusive innovation in the economy that is essential for the nation's competitiveness, domestic harmony, national security, and growth. We intend to bring together research and development institutions such as tech-enabled corporations, universities, medical facilities, as well as venture capitalists, incubators, and startups that will enable us become a country that is the catalyst for digital change in this connection. In this connection, we will support domestic IT production technological projects, startup initiatives, and research. And the Waziri has spoken to this already. The other item is data protection. This aspect requires special attention. We will ensure sufficient level of cybersecurity and protection of personal data and promote digital ethics. For us, protection of the interests of the state starts with protection of state information. But the interests of our citizens are sacred. This means no one should access personal data without permission from the citizenry as required by law. The seventh target is women in technology. As part of the efforts to build resilience and inclusivity, the government is focused on supporting women economic empowerment. We know it will require the strength of innovation in digital technology to achieve an inclusive, resilient, and sustainable economy that bridges the gender gap. Hence, government is deliberately supporting and promoting women's roles in sectors of socioeconomic development through increasing business ownership opportunities, creating an enabling environment for women's enterprises, and facilitating their access to digital education, skills development, and finance. In this regard, our priority in enhancing education opportunities as well as professional vocational training for women in the digital age is crucial to enable their access to information and ownership. Again, going further on women, we have to focus on aspects of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, again, with special dedication to women. As government, we are committed to rapid increase of enrollment in the formal education. This is a crucial step towards reducing the gender gap, while specifically equipping girls and women with relevant skill sets and providing an environment that improves their retention. We therefore not only aim at reducing the gender gap, but also preventing leakage of competent, productive, valuable human capital that should contribute positively to the country's economy. All these goals will be underpinned by the relevant and necessary policy framework and governance structures, and where necessary, the legal infrastructure. Meanwhile, I believe that success of the digitization of the country hinges on the combined efforts of all stakeholders. It requires consolidated efforts by the government, private sector, and society. Collaborative work with local and foreign partners is very important for us in the acquisition of knowledge and technologies, and financial injection into the implementation of these projects. Partnerships, co-creation activities, and joint initiatives are of great importance as we develop a new culture of large-scale cooperation. So far, I have been deliberate in sharing out our vision of how digitalization will play a pivotal role in what we want to achieve. I have therefore laid the foundation of our long-term partnerships. Finally, I once more thank you for participating in the digitization of our countries. I emphasize again that Africa is open to partnerships and collaborative work. Together with partners, we can turn our countries into significant players in the digital world. Though the Kenya government has already taken significant steps towards digitization, we have many more plans for the future. I therefore stress that facilitation of digitization is among the paramount duties of the heads of state agencies that are sitting here, as directed by His Excellency the President. As the Prime Cabinet Secretary, I want it on record that digitization of the country is one of our major priorities, and indeed mine as well. Hence, respective ministries and agencies must accelerate digitization, in the implementation of their dockets to ensure efficient management of state assets and improved service delivery to our citizenry. Of course, the private sector should not be left behind. You have my assurance that government will provide all necessary support to firms that create new jobs, especially to IT companies that operate in high-value industries. In conclusion, I express my gratitude to the organizers of this conference, the Ministry of Information, Communication, and the Digital Economy, and all partners involved. Let us make this conference a genuine and practical platform that promotes creative ideas on digital transformation and spur economic growth. And this is where I come up with a couple of my own stories. Ladies and gentlemen, I had the privilege of once serving in two critical dockets as a Minister for Finance and later on as Owalo's predecessor to some extent, as Minister for Transport and Communications. And we had a very good president, Daniel Arap Moi. May his soul rest in peace. So, what was the hot issue at the time? Quite a number. One was that we had to start embracing technology, and very fast. two, we had to embrace the private sector because it was clear that it was not tenable for the public sector to imagine that they can continue running everything. So one of the things that we had to do was to break certain barriers where when you talked of privatization, nobody wanted to hear. And I'm saying this because I have legislators here, both in the Senate and in Parliament, and they'll really have to help us here. We had to deal with KPTC, Kenya Posts and Telecommunications Corporation, the big one. It used to have Chiloba's job, it had Tanui's job, it had everybody's job. That was all embedded in one entity. And it was absolutely necessary that we move forward. Let me tell you, it was a nightmare because certain people or certain individuals, when they get to these kind of positions, it becomes literally impossible for them to see that they have to cede ground for the greater good of the country. The whole control syndrome, so embedded in our society that you don't want to work with the private sector, you don't want to work with anybody, was crippling and suffocating the country. So we took some drastic steps, painful ones. We privatized. And to privatize, I can confidently stand here and say that I played my role in making sure Safaricom was able to set foot, and it has become the entity that it is. What were the issues then? Losing control. That was the basic thing. Losing control, losing positions of privilege, and to a great extent also losing opportunities for a few to make money. The government was injecting money from the exchequer into telecoms. So KPTC was dependent on the exchequer. Today, we all stand here as proud Kenyans because we moved that industry from being dependent on the exchequer, a drain on the exchequer, to a mega contributor to the exchequer. That is what has happened. What we were trying to hold on to as a nation was just a joke. Our biggest taxpayer today is yourselves, guys in the tech industry, led by Safaricom. Now, these are the decisions that we must look at. And the other issues were, sasa ukiweka fax machine, siri za serikali zinaondoka. A false notion of security. Now you have the instruments, you have the legislation, we can still deal with security-related issues, but we can have our private sector growing. So at that time, one of the famous phrases that the retired president, because apart from KPTC, there were other entities that had to be also privatized. KCB, which was wholly government-owned, it had to be privatized. There were so many others that had to we had to let go. And I'm saying this because privatization is coming. We have to let go on some things. So, on one famous morning, because we kept on coming with this agenda of privatization to the late president, he then confronted me and some of my colleagues and he said, in Kiswahili, I'll try and paraphrase it a little later in English, he said, hata wewe kama ni ndume, hiyo ndume itawezana na ndama 50. Mwende pole pole. In fact, on a lighter note, his strong cultural accent came through and he said, Mwende bole bole. So, I didn't know what to tell him. But you know what, sitting here and listening to you, I've just realized if I had been slightly more schooled in technology like you guys, I would have told him, Mzee, I may not be the bull that can service 50 heifers, but I can tell you technology can service 50 heifers. So through technology and innovation, you are the guys who can help us leapfrog. You can become the bull in the house, not a bull in a China shop, but a bull that can service growth in this country, because technology is what we need to actually move forward. We have still in the docket over 200 public enterprises. Over 200 public enterprises. Through technology, what can we do? Because these 200, are they all adding value? How many of them are dependent on the exchequer? How many of them are a drain to the exchequer? And how many of them, through you, can be transformed into productive heifers that will ensure we have milk for the growing population? This is the challenge I would like to leave with you, because we have a lot of work to do. I'll give you another example. A few days ago, I was in Western Kenya, and somebody talked about privatization. I listened, I did not respond, but I hope I'll meet the person and talk to them a little more. But there was an American ambassador here, Aurelia Brazil. Some of you may have met her when she was ambassador here. And she asked one fundamental question, and that is the question I want to leave with you, and particularly with the legislators, because then it is going to help us in actually interacting and embracing technology and moving forward. She asked, suppose you privatize or you use technology or whatever, but you have more of private sector input in the management of the Kenya Airports Authority. With technology, you can grow the revenue, and I've heard you talk about growing revenue in government. You can increase efficiency, And it will be the public sector partnering with the public sector. But from a control freak perspective, if you talk about the possibility of the private sector working in the management of Kenya Airports Authority, people get jittery. But she asked one fundamental question. Suppose there's a private sector entity through a privatization program which brings technology and all this. Will they uproot Jomo Kenyatta Airport physically? Will that asset be removed from Nairobi physically and taken to Las Vegas? Or does it remain an asset in this country that is more productive, that is generating more revenue, that is creating more employment? These are the questions we need to look at. We can then look at the process and how you achieve it. But surely, let us not be scared of embracing new technology and the private sector coming to work to increase productivity and enhance revenue. We must be broad-minded. We must be open. When I sit here or I stand here, I can ask you freely, who is managing the Dubai airport? Who is managing it? And isn't it one of the most efficient hubs that you can ever come across? Do you think it's the government of Dubai that is managing it, or Emirates? Directly? No. So let's open up and see how we can embrace each other, private sector, business, technology, and transform our lives and transform the lives of our Kenyans as we move forward. Finally, just one line, and then I'll declare the conference open. 3 words for me: growth, sustainability, and equity. Those 3: growth, sustainability, and equity. The technology you are applying, is it a catalyst for growth? 2, please help us not to introduce technologies that excite us for 2 months and then you withdraw them because they are not sustainable. Introduce technologies that are sustainable to help us move forward. In my village of Mululu and Chamakanga, I don't want people to get excited about something being introduced, and then 2 months later we tell them we have withdrawn that technology that looked very good and that was good, but because we cannot sustain it, it has been withdrawn. Let us not put our citizens in that kind of situation, our businesses in that situation, our hustlers in that situation. The final one is what you are introducing, the technology that you are introducing. Is it broadening inequalities, or is it enhancing equality? If you can answer those 3 as a rule of thumb, I think you'll be doing wonders for us. Growth, sustainability, and equality with your technology. God bless you all. I now declare this conference formally open.
One more round of of applause for our chief guest, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. And wonderful to hear that personal story of how government can play a facilitating role to see industry thrive. At this juncture, we'd like to release our chief guest and our other key guests as well to take their leave. There'll be a short media briefing in Kongamano Room with the media. And of course, we have a few more housekeeping items as our guests take their leave. Thank you so much to our chief guest and Wana CS and our PSs as well. You may take your leave. Thank you.
As they leave the room, for the rest of us delegates present, we'll take a short health tea break stretch as we had been asked to do, 15 minutes. And because we are slightly overrun on the program, it'll be a hard stop even on the break. So please, 15 minutes. If you can synchronize and be back at midday, midday, we'll carry on from there. So short break, 15 minutes tea break. We're back for our first plenary session. Good afternoon.
Summit 2023 Digital Economy. Endless opportunities shaping our future.
My name is Chafet Mori. I'm the CEO at Baran Telecom Networks. We are a customer-centric technology company providing fit-for-purpose turnkey smart technology solutions. As a technology partner of choice, we work with our customers through their solution development journey, from design stage, building POC prototype, deploying minimum viable products, all the way to live product deployment. As a result, our customers have not only deployed fiber products, but also streamlined business operations, achieving digital transformation with high impact on net revenues.
I am John Tanui, PS ICT and Digital Economy. I invite you to Connected Summit 2023. This is a very important event you cannot afford to miss. This is where we come to discuss issues of ICT and digital economy and how we can transform our economy and our country to be a leader in this space. Thank you.
Register now. www.connected.go.ke. The 12th edition Connected Summit 2023 Digital Economy. Endless opportunities shaping our future.
Imagine the possibilities. Rooftops, even building surfaces are all energy farms. Smart, power-generating roads that repair themselves. Clean energy everywhere. Cleaner ecosystems. Smart grids and devices that manage power precisely. Even waste is used as an energy source. Synthetic microbes rapidly convert waste to fertilizer for vertical urban agriculture. Roads are made of recycled plastic, making circular economy a reality. Connected citizens participate in community decisions seamlessly. Many government services are available remotely, at a touch, leading to greater access and transparency of government actions and service delivery, promoting inclusivity like never before. Everyone has access to essential goods and services, healthcare, and quality of life. Personal robots assist the elderly and differently abled. AI accelerates medical diagnosis and treatment. Even epidemics are detected early to mitigate their spread. Personalized stem cell therapies, microbiomes, and microbots hold the promise of longer and healthier lives. Autonomous mobility is safe, convenient, and accessible to all. No traffic fatalities. Minimal parking required. Freeing up all that space for parks, community spaces, even urban farms. Autonomic sensors, interconnected systems, and AI ensure emergency response is rapid, almost real time. Technology is transforming the way we live, enabling unprecedented possibilities for human progress and economic growth, making digital cities a reality.
Hello everybody, my name is Stanley Kamanguya, CEO ICT Authority.